What is up, everybody? Welcome into Pack a Day Happy Hour. My name is Andy Herman. You know that already. Thank you so much for being here. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Andy Herman NFL. We have got a lot to get to today, a lot of great questions. I have the next hour or so to answer as many of those as I possibly can. So let's get started right away. Just really quick, injury report just came out. Mostly good news. Over two players popped up on Friday, which is what happened to Josh Jacobs a week ago. And we know, how last minute that was as to whether or not he was going to play or not. So you can never quite be too certain if that injury that pops up on Friday is something or if it's nothing, and if those players are going to play or not. Those two players that popped up on Friday, Warren Brinson, and the big one is Matthew Golden. Brinson's not insignificant, by the way. Let's start with that one first. If Brinson were to be unable to go, you're probably getting the debut of James Esther, the practice squad defensive tackle who's been on this team a couple of years now, undrafted free agent this past season. There's not any other real option to go for there. It would be, a defensive tackle. Well, I guess you have Wyatt. I shouldn't say it. Wyatt's coming back theoretically. So if Wyatt's back, you're probably fine. And Brinson's just inactive and you probably get through that. I guess if Wyatt's unable to go as well, who's also questionable, and Brinson can't go, then you get to James Esther. Or if just with Wyatt, they feel like they're going to bring him up, but they maybe can't trust him through the whole game, or he needs to be on a snap count, you might want to go with 5 defensive tackles in this one. And then that's where James Esther would come in as the only defensive tackle on the practice squad. So one to potentially keep an eye on there, not, again, insignificant. But if they feel good about Wyatt, and it's just back to, Wyatt, Wooden, Brooks, and Stackhouse, you're probably okay. But if they're either not sure about Wyatt and how long he can go in this game, and Brinson can't go, or if just Wyatt and Brinson can't go, then that's where you're probably getting James Esther called up as that 4th defensive tackle. Meanwhile, wide receiver, the big one here, we know that Dontavian Wicks is going to be out. We know Jaden Reed is obviously out. So you're down to Dobbs, Golden, and then Christian Watson likely making his return in limited fashion. And then, of course, you've got Malik Heath, Savion Williams, and maybe a little bit of Bo Melton as well. If, in fact, Matthew Golden would not be able to go in this game, that certainly changes the calculus of your wide receiver room quite a bit. You're probably looking at, Christian Watson on a snap count at best in this game, probably maybe 15 to 20 snaps. So outside of that, again, if Golden, Wicks, Reed are all out, Watson can't go for more than 15, 20 snaps, you're left with a wide receiver room of Romeo Dobbs, Malik Heath, Savion Williams, and again, maybe a little bit of Bo Melton mixed in as well. So those are going to be 2 really big injuries to kind of keep an eye on. They do have 3 receivers on the practice squad if they feel they need to call somebody up. Not sure if they'll feel the need to or not, but Isaiah Nair, Will Shepard, and Jacoby Keeney James are the 3 wide receivers. I would expect if one of those were to be called up, Will Shepard would likely be the one. Does give you a little bit of punt return ability as well. But that's not where you want to be. You certainly want to be Matthew Golden and Warren Brinson playing if need be in this game. So those are 2 more injuries to kind of keep an eye on. That was kind of the latest on today's injury report. All right, with that, let's get into our full conversation, starting off with Ethan. Let's kick this off with what we are all actually here for. Let's hear your favorite alcoholic drink. A good old-fashioned Wisconsin old-fashioned is what I love. Also love a pecan old-fashioned, a fantastic beer, microbrew or something like that is always a good answer as well. Those are probably my go-tos. I'm not a big wine drinker. I can drink it. I don't really like red wine. But in general, I can do pretty much anything, but a Wisconsin old fashioned, definitely my favorite. Seems more important this year than any year I can remember that the Packers get home field advantage in the playoffs, substantially better at home this season. Let's rack up those wins. I just think in general, it's a huge advantage. Certainly if you can get the number 1 seed and have to avoid one of those games and just play 2 home games in order to get to the Super Bowl, that's by far and away your best bet. And I know every single year we get these, upsets, or we get a team that maybe makes it from the wild card round or things like that. I think it's getting tougher and tougher to go through a 17-game season and then play 3 games on the road and then make it to a Super Bowl. I just think we're going to see fewer and fewer of that narrative and of that storyline. I know in 2010, Packers had to go on the road for all those games, but I think it's getting harder and harder to do so. Winning the North is a massive advantage as you go into the playoffs. Not only that, but then forcing Detroit to have to kind of go on the road, which is still, I think, Detroit's favored to win the NFC right now. So if you can send them on the road, having to play an opening round game somewhere on the road, and then only having to face them if they win either in the divisional or in the NFC championship, and then you get that game at home, again, that's a potential huge advantage. So as many wins as this team can get in the regular season, especially having an early bye as well. If you can get that number 1 seed to have that bye in the early week of the playoffs, that gives you an advantage. Also, I know Green Bay sometimes not great after a bye, but I would still take it if you gave me the offer today. I think that's going to be a huge storyline to kind of keep an eye on the rest of the season. Is the first thing is just, get into the playoffs. Second thing, win the NFC North and get that home, field advantage if you can. But if you can get that bye as well, certainly a huge advantage for the team. Hi, Andy. I'm sorry I missed the members Q&A. Unacceptable, John. I was slammed with work and forgot to get some questions in early. It won't happen again. Also behind on the shows, but I'll catch up before the game. You've got work to do, John. Step your game up, my friend. No, always just appreciate you being here, John. And thanks so much for all the watching and listening and questions and everything like that. You're a legend, and I appreciate you coming into today's show. Think we need to ban John from the members Q&A. We'll think about it. We'll see how it's not the, how you perform. It's how you, kind of bounce back. We all make mistakes. Can we bounce back and learn from it? We'll keep an eye on John from here on out. Happy Friday, Andy. Looking forward to a great weekend of games in a win-win situation. Either Jordan Love triumphs over Rodgers or Matt LaFleur seat gets a half degree warmer. Just kidding. Enjoy the weekend all. Yeah, we don't need anything like it. The fact is, again, it wouldn't even necessarily do that if we're being honest. But this is going to be a tough one in Pittsburgh, no question about it. One of the things I want you guys to just really think, and most of you guys are smart, knowledgeable, people. So I'm probably preaching to the choir a little bit here. What's the record for the Packers going to be at the end of the season? Like, what's a good, reasonable record for this Packers team to be at the end of the season? Like, knowing that we have a tie, or the Packers have a tie now, 1 loss, 1 tie. I still think 11 wins is really good, right? Like 11-4-1 or 11-5-1, 11-5-1. Based on their schedule remain like 11-5-1. Let's just say 12-4-1. Okay. 12-4-1 is what we're shooting for. I just want to remind people that in order to go 12-4-1, they're going to lose 3 more games. That's going to happen. 12-4-1 would be a really good record. And in order to get there, they have to lose 3 more games. So just know, we get all caught up in the game and in the moment of what's an acceptable result in the moment. Keep an eye on the idea that whatever that win-loss record you think it is, whether it's 11 wins, 12 wins, maybe it's 13 wins. Maybe you think that they should win 13 wins this season. All right. So what? 13-3-1. All right. Yeah. That still means they need to lose 2 more games. And I think that would be an exceptional remainder of the season. I think 12-4-1 would be a amazing result still to the season. So in order to do so, they need to lose 3 games to go 12-4-1. Just a reminder that an unbelievable record, 12-4-1, potentially even winning the number 1 seed in the NFC and probably winning the NFC North with that record, requires them to lose 3 more games. So that's going to happen. Maybe one of those is this weekend. Maybe it's not. We'll have to kind of wait and see. Philly, Baltimore, the 2 Chicago games are probably going to be tough. At Denver is going to be a very tough game. I think just reminder that there's going to be some losses. There's going to be some, hiccups along the way. Those are going to come. Honestly, if you told me right now that they went undefeated the rest of the regular season, I wouldn't even feel great about that. Because they're not going from now until the Super Bowl without losing a game. You're sorry, they're not. They're not going to. So just know some losses it's okay. It's going to happen. It's a really tough league. And we don't need to put everyone on notice when that happens. If we get to the end of the year and they miss the playoffs or have a 4-game losing streak or get to the playoffs and lose in the first round in embarrassing fashion, we can have conversations. And I know this is not targeted towards you, most hated Chicagoan, but just remember, in order to go 12-4-1, you've had to have lost 4 games and tied a game. They have 1 loss and 1 tie already, but it would require at least 3 more losses. There's going to be some issues along the way. Just be prepared for it. Buckle in. Try not to ride the wave too much. And just understand that there's going to be some trepidation. I shouldn't say trepidation, just some trials and tribulations, what I'm looking for along the way of this season as well. Parsons, while it was like watching Jordan put up 50, drawing double teams for Gretzky, score a hat trick, and then win in the shootout. Enjoy these when they happen because there aren't many like him. He's an absolute stud. He's unbelievable to watch. What a great trade by Goody. Obviously need to pay off the way that he's playing for the remainder of the season and through his time in Green Bay. But he has been beyond advertised so far and just really fun to watch down in and down out. Amazing TAFS Packers talk on Monday. The TAFS. What is TAFS? I don't know I don't know. You have to, I'm like probably just drawing a blank. I just woke up from a nap. So, and I didn't have any caffeine today. So my brain is very foggy. Packers are first in the NFL, converting third and long, 21st, converting third and short medium. That's the most Packers statistic ever. First and third and long, 21st and third and short and medium. More than 10 air yards and all third down, might be over aggressive late downs. Worth a listen. TAFS. Oh, the Athletic Football Show. Gotcha. I know. I figured it out. I'll have to go back and listen to that. Those guys do a great job. Love Derek. Love Robert. Those guys do awesome job covering the entire NFL. I think it's the best nationwide football podcast out there. Obviously not the best football podcast out there, but best nationwide football podcast out there. I think they do an incredible job. A few shows ago, I criticized Love's decision-making, but I really meant situational awareness, not interceptions. Rodgers and Adams used to take easy money on third and fourth. Short plays are great on third and fourth. Short sometimes, but easy completions are usually better. Just like it depends on the situation and scenario. And just remember too, the defense is specifically trying to take away those sort of things. And sometimes the best time to take a shot play is by going for it on those third and fourth situations. And I just go back to that Romeo Doubs play. I love that play call. Absolutely love it. Got a wide open receiver in the end zone. Just have to hit the throw. Just have to hit the throw and you get a touchdown. I mean, that's a big time difference maker in that game. That's a 0-point drive that sets them up for success on their following drive because you're giving it to them on a short field instead of 7 points. I mean, you just got to hit that one. That one's a big miss on Jordan. Great route by Romeo. Great play call by Matt. And that's just a big miss by Jordan. We can just call it for what it is. And I know, if you could ask Matt, I'll even say this. If you could ask Matt, hey, you can have a free first down or you can have a wide open Romeo Doubs for a touchdown and all you have to do is complete the pass, he would say, give me the wide open pass. And I would say the exact same thing. Those plays are tough to get against opposing defenses in the modern NFL and for teams that are trying everything they can to not allow big plays. So when you get the opportunity to take it, you got to take it. When you get the opportunity to hit it, you got to hit it. They just missed on that one. No status update on Marshawn Lloyd. I'm also very excited to see him play, but his practice window has not opened yet. We'll see next week if that window opens, but even once it opens, I would expect that they're probably going to take the 2 to 3 week period for him to kind of get in game shape and start, putting some practice film out there as well. So I think we're probably at minimum a month away for seeing Marshawn Lloyd on the actual field itself. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we see him next week, but I would think we're probably at least a month away yet from Marshawn Lloyd. I don't know how the NFL had this on his schedule and didn't put this as a home game. What a missed opportunity. It's a great point, Ryan, excuse me. It's not the whole NFL schedule. Maybe you guys don't know this. The whole NFL schedule is a formula. The NFL does not pick and choose opponents for any team. You play your division twice, home and away. All right. You play one of the divisions and it rotates once every 3 years. So the South, the West, and the East, you play one of that division, 2 home games, 2 road games. All right. You play the other 2 divisions that you do not play. You play the team that finished with the exact same spot. And so if the Packers finished 3rd last year in the NFC North, they play the other 2 teams that finished 3rd in the division that they don't play. They play the one AFC division in its entirety, 2 home and 2 away. And again, which ones are home and which ones are away are part of that formula. And then they play one team from either of the 3 AFC divisions that rotates around, and you play again a team in the AFC from one of those other 3 divisions, and whichever division it is on that year that finished in the same slot that you finished. So again, if you finish 3rd in the NFC North, you play a 3rd place team from that specific division. So if you look at the Packers schedule this year, for example, they play, of course, the entire NFC North twice, home and away. They play the entire NFC East, the Giants, the Cowboys, the Eagles, and the Commanders. They play the entire AFC North, which is the Bengals, the Bengals, the Browns, the Ravens, and the Steelers. And then their teams that finished in the same spot as them are the Carolina Panthers in the NFC South, And then the New York Giants. No, sorry, not the Giants. Who's the other one in the NFC? It is the Arizona Cardinals in the NFC West, who they just played. So Carolina and Arizona both finished third, like Green Bay. So they play those two. And then the Broncos are the team from the NFC West. They play the NFC West this year that finished third in the NFC West. So that's who they play in the NFC West. So that's how they get to the schedule. It's all formulaic. It has nothing to do with what the NFL or league would like to have happen. So it's just completely happenstance. By the way, if they played a different division this year, they wouldn't have even played the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I'm sure the NFL would have loved for the Packers to have played the Jets in the last couple of years. I'm sure the Packers, they would have loved for this game again for the Steelers to show up, but they don't have a choice over that. It's all formulaic to keep the competitive balance in the league, which is the right thing to do. But yeah, they have no say over the actual matchups themselves or home or away. Again, that's all part of the formula. Let's see. I'm back. Missed some of the few lives schedules, Anyway, despite Pittsburgh doing some stuff that has bothered Green Bay, I'm confident Green Bay can correct the ship and win this game. Does Jordan have to continue that upward trend, maybe by a lot, even though he's been really good to get Green Bay this win? I think, honestly, I would like to see this team run the football better. I have faith in Jordan in this passing offense. Now, if Golden's out, we have no idea. It's tough to say whether he's going to play or not, just based on him popping up on the injury report today. But I have faith in this passing offense. And really, when they've needed to get things done, they have consistently got things done. And Jordan's led them in the clutch every single time so far. So I trust Jordan. I trust his passing attack. I actually want to see this running game going better and far more efficient. And some of these play calls that look like bad play calls start not looking as bad play calls because you're able to run the football. And it's like, oh yeah, that one went for 8 yards. That was a great play call. Now, if you start actually executing the plays better, some of those look better. It's not absolving some of the really dumb toss plays to the outside and some really stupid situations. But in general, some of those plays that if you just execute a little bit better, especially in the run game, everything starts looking a lot better. You're more efficient. You're more balanced. Play action works a little bit better. I think that's honestly the key to this team really being at the top of their game is getting that run game going at a higher level. Steelers run defense, not that great. Cincinnati, even who was a bad running team, got to them on Thursday Night Football a couple weeks ago. So hopefully Green Bay can start righting the ship with that run game and just be far more efficient as a run blocking and run oriented team. Excuse me. Packers are the only team to rotate offensive linemen. Why are they the only team to refuse to rotate corners? Why can we not get CV rotating with Hobbs? If Hobbs is better, let him show us best 5 offensive line, best 5 defensive backs. First of all, they did not rotate offensive linemen last week. It was full Jordan Morgan helping, and there was no Sean Ryan whatsoever. Everybody played every snap amongst the 5. They have shown the propensity to rotate defensive backs in the past, so that is something that they have done and will do. I don't know why last week it was Hobbs no matter what, and they did not want to go away from them. Clearly, they like Hobbs better than Valentine. I don't necessarily agree with that assessment. At minimum, I think there should be a rotation there, but they believe in Hobbs. I don't think they fully believe in Valentine, if I'm being honest, and they're going to have to kind of live with that decision. I do think Hobbs will play much better than what he's played overall, but it's not been great so far. As I've talked about, he's my lowest graded player on defense. And there definitely has to be a better level of production from him. And if not, then they really do need to look at, do they bench him? Do they try something different? Do they do a rotation? But for a team that does talk about competition all the time, if one player is just really not playing, he blew an assignment on one particular coverage, then it's time to go with the player out there that you maybe can feel like at least you can trust to line up in the right spot, doing the right things, and is playing a little bit better brand of football. But that's obviously Green Bay's decision. Whatever they decide, they're going to have to live with. But rough game this past week from Nate Hobbs, no question about it. How has Sorrell looked at defensive tackle? I know he won't be a world beater, but is he holding up? So impressive for a rookie, by the way. So I want to just clarify for a second, John, because obviously Barron Sorrell is the defensive end, Warren Brinson, defensive tackle. I've seen a lot of people get those confused. Both of them are rookies. You can tell they're young. I like Brinson a lot. Sorrell at defensive end, I thought earlier in the season was flashing a little bit more. I haven't really seen any of that over the past couple of weeks, especially as this team has needed him more with LVN being out. Now, if you're asking the second piece of this, which in some of the NASCAR packages, Barron Sorrell kicked inside and was a rusher on the interior, I think that's a really tough ask for him. Justice and I kind of talked about that specifically. Justice talked about it earlier this week on our show. I think you're asking a lot of him in that situation. It's probably not something I would make a habit out of doing. You probably need it less too if Devontae Wyatt's in there. But if they want to go a little bit quicker out there, I personally would use probably somebody else. I would probably get Enigbare, Parsons, and Rashawn Gary on the field at this time, a little bit over Sorrell. But I think for both of the rookies, Sorrell and Brinson, they're hanging in there. You can see the talent. You can see the flashes. I think they're both going to be good rotational players for Green Bay. I think Brinson is a little bit better so far than what Sorrell has been, but I see talent in both of them, and I'm excited about them both long term. But, rookie day 3, rookies in general are, it's tough to find big time impact players as rookies, and especially on day 3, and especially in some of those tough positions, which Sorrell has been put in. But I like both players. I think they'll progress over the course of their careers. But right now it's a little bit of, they're just kind of hanging in there, learning the ropes and trying to do their best. And for the most part, they're hanging in there. I counted 15 shows you're doing this week. 1, what were you doing with your life before this? 2, were you driving your wife crazy without being constantly busy making shows for us? Yeah, obviously, since doing this full time, you do get a little bit more content out there. A couple of those are Mike Wall episodes, right? So one of them's not up yet, but it should be up by end of day today. So a couple of those are Mike Wall pieces of content where it's just me uploading it, which is nice. Camille has hers from immediately following the game as well. But one of the fun things or interesting things that I did right before moving to full time, I reached out to Peter Bukowski, Tom Grassi, a couple other people as well, and just said, hey, what am I missing? What do I need to make sure I'm dotting my I's and crossing my T's on before I start doing this full time? Both Tom and Peter to the T said, you're going to get into this and you're going to start doing it every day. And you will wonder for the rest of your life how you ever did it on the side and still had a full-time job. I'm like, that's stupid. That's so that's insane. What do you I've already been doing all of this with a full-time job. Now I'm going to keep doing it. And now I don't have a full-time job. How am I going to be more busy or whatever? It is 1,000,000% true. I feel busier than I ever have been, yet not having a full-time job. I don't know. I don't know how the space-time continuum works with that stuff, but it's been pretty crazy. But I don't know. I love doing it. I'm happy I get to do it. I hope you guys enjoy all the different varieties of content that's out there. It's a ton of fun. Obviously, in season's a little bit busier. Off season, we're usually more on that strict kind of 1-a-day schedule. But there's a lot to talk about. I get to talk about it with some phenomenal people, and I feel very lucky that I get to share that with you guys. So again, hopefully you guys are enjoying it. Andy, were you invited to the Aaron Rodgers Zoom call yesterday? I was. True story. So had the link and had the invite and everything. If I would have gone, I would not have asked any questions. I would have let the main beat guys do all of the heavy lifting anyway. You also, I realized right before I was about to go into it, they sent it to, I think, everyone, and then you had to RSVP with who was going to go from your, your kind of your network or whatever. So I didn't have the ability to talk to Zach Jacobson or Ross Uglum to see if they got the email and if they were going to do it. And I was kind of by the seat of my pants. Also yesterday, if you noticed, I didn't get the grades video out until 7 p.m.-ish, somewhere around there. And I was running really behind on it. And I really wanted to get it out yesterday so you guys didn't have to wait till Friday again. So in an effort to try to get everything done, and I didn't have the time to RSVP and talk to the rest of the guys on our team to see if they were already going, I did not actually attend it. I had planned on it when I first got it, and I was, just things kind of came up and didn't kind of allow for it. But even if I would have attended, I would have let all the main beat guys ask the questions anyway, because he only had a short period of time, and would have honestly been kind of crappy if, they've obviously been the ones asking him questions for years. If I try to hijack it and ask questions or whatever. So I wouldn't have done that no matter what, but unfortunately the timing just didn't work out the way I would have wanted it to. And so I did not attend it, but did get the invite for it. Yes. Happy Friday, Andy. Or happy Friday, all. Andy, how hard do you think coaches try to outsmart each other? I feel like Matt LaFleur always has a very surface level plan for games, but I could definitely see how he's trying to counter each other's tendencies. Could get into a Princess Bride situation real fast. Do coaches usually put all their time into one main plan, or do they have backup strategies they've worked on too? Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing if your coach is trying to figure out tendencies and ways to attack opposing offenses and defenses. That's what you want them to do. Now, I do think sometimes there's a paralysis by analysis. And I do think one of the things that Matt struggled with a little bit is being a little bit almost over prepared and trying to attack specific things. And then when teams throw him a curveball, he just kind of gets thrown off a little bit by it, which is, again, why you almost have to have your identity and what you want to do in the game, regardless of what the opposing defense is doing. That's easier said than done, though, because they're going to be prepared for you. So if all of a sudden you're just running your normal stuff and they've got all of your tendencies down and they're predicting what you're going to do, all right, well, now you're in a bad spot. So yeah, a lot of this is just a cat and mouse game. And that's the beauty of the NFL is you think you're going to catch them in one thing and they have certain tendencies that they do. So you run something to beat that tendency, and then to throw you off the scent, they do something else. It's why I talked about this past week, that third down run on 3rd and 4, which we all hated. And I hate the play call no matter what, even if you wanted to run in that situation. I didn't like that play call, but there is a benefit to breaking tendency from time to time. And you kind of have to do that. If every 3rd and 4 you just pass, it is a huge tell for opposing teams. They're like, oh, we don't even have to bother worrying about if they hand off inside or try to do a trap or a draw or something like that. We don't even have to worry about that. We can just play pass. And on the off chance, the 1 in 100 times they call a run, all right, we'll tip our cap and give you the first down, or just maybe even get the stop anyway. So I think that there is a lot that goes into it. I think Matt is very prepared. I think he crosses his I's, dots his T's, does all of his homework, knows how to attack opposing teams. I think there's sometimes that he can adjust a little bit quicker when he's expecting a lot of man and it's getting zone, or is expecting a lot of zone and getting man. I think at some point you just have to be able to, alter your game plan kind of on the fly and say, all right, we're going to go with our stuff that works just in general, and, screw the game plan to some extent, because they're doing stuff that we didn't expect them to do. But in general, it's a good thing. But I think sometimes he gets maybe a little bit too in the weeds with it. And, but that's a very common thing in the NFL. And again, there's this beautiful cat and mouse game, which is why everything is so fun to watch. Even if you're on a surface level and just like, hey, I like football, cool. But the deeper you get into it and you see some of this stuff throughout the course of the game, even on like the nerdiest level, it's still a surprise every single time, because you don't know what's going to come next, because these coaches are always trying to outsmart each other. Happy Friday, Andy. I cannot wait to see this offense once all the pieces come together. I predict the O-line will steadily improve, and we will be playing our best football in December and January. I think there's a good chance of that, Jerry. It's been a little of a trend with Matt LaFleur's teams over the years that the offensive line gets better through the course of the year, and by the end of the year, they're playing really good football. Hopefully as well, they start getting those bunches of turnovers come, and we haven't seen that so far. If they get a bunch of turnovers by the end of the year, that would be great. So, I think there's very much a piece of that as well. I just want to take a quick moment to mention that today's show is presented by Luiges Frozen Pizzas. Love these things. You guys know it. I tell you guys every single day, I love these things because they are delicious. They are tasty. They are easy to make. They are well priced, meaning that they're not going to gouge you on prices. You can find them in your grocery section of your, local freezer section of your grocery, I should say. And right now I've got multiple in my freezer. I was already thinking of which one I'm going to go with this weekend. I'm pretty certain I'm going to go with a pregame pizza this week because it's a Sunday night football game. I got the thin crust pepperoni in there. I got a thin crust cheese. I've been really craving a Supreme though. So I'm leaning Supreme pizza on Sunday prior to the game, and then breakfast pizza Monday morning following the game, if in fact it is a victory Monday, which we are all hoping for. You can find them over at luigespizza.com and on social media at Luiges Pizza. Let's also really quick talk about Sleeper as well, which I cannot recommend enough. Really fun to kind of go through all the games with them. And it's just been a really fun season kind of being able to do this. I'm going with Packers and Steelers this one. The best part is, again, you can get 100% match up to $100 by utilizing code PACKET-A. Again, 100% match up to $100 by utilizing code PACKET-A. Simple here. Josh Jacobs touchdown. Josh Jacobs is a touchdown machine. He's a red zone machine. I like the chances here. So Josh Jacobs, more than 1/2 touchdown. And then Aaron Rodgers, I do expect that quick passing game and some of the deep stuff to DK Metcalf to be very lucrative for that Steelers offense. So I'm going Aaron Rodgers more than 215.5 passing yards in this game. Well, they also right now have a entry that you can get that there is no No deposit required. So up to $20, no deposit required. You can check that out over at Sleeper for any of these deals. Terms and conditions apply. Check out Sleeper for more details. They are available in more than 25 states. So what are you waiting for? Get your sleeper picks in for this weekend. Enjoy football even just a little bit more. And we'll have some either Monday or Thursday night picks coming up for you guys as well. All right, back to our questions here. Let's see. So just seeing where I left off here. Talked about that. Oh my God. I literally did not even see that. Most hated Chicagoan. That is 100% true story. Can't wait to see those sleeper picks today. Andy, do you think all of the inactives being announced today is due to the arrest made yesterday? Florio had some good stuff saying NFL may be concerned. I guess I didn't see the inactive thing today, most hated Chicagoan. You'll have to maybe clue me in on that. I didn't see anything about, I don't know why anyone would be doing inactives today. That doesn't make much sense to me. I guess maybe if you're talking like Trayvon Diggs, AJ Brown will not play or things like that. I don't think that has anything to do with it. To be honest, unless you're talking about something else, I don't think there's any correlation there. I will tell you this, at some point, the NFL will go through this. Just a true story. Maybe it's not this year. Maybe it's next year. Maybe it's the year after. Maybe it's 10 years from now. I don't know when it is, but it will happen in the NFL as well. That's just a piece of this that's going to happen. It'll happen in the NHL. It'll happen in college sports. It'll happen in Major League Baseball. We already saw the Ohtani and his manager thing happen. It'll happen again in the NBA. This is going to be a piece of it. There is a lot of money that's out there every single week on betting. And it's definitely something that is going to continue to probably permeate the sport in some way, shape, or form. I think to me, this is unfortunately some really bad actors that are making some really poor decisions. And it, clouds everything else. All right, how deep do I want to get in on this? Okay, I think I'm okay talking about this. I'll first of all be transparent. We just did a sleeper read, right? When you get into sports podcasting, you're usually going to do some sort of daily fantasy or something like that. It is what it is. I'm not shying away from it. It is where I get part of my advertising revenue and things like that. That is a piece of what I do. Fully transparent, not really apologetic about it. If I'm being honest, it is what it is. If that's not your cup of tea, I'm not forcing anybody. Nor do I say if that's not your thing, don't do it. That it's pretty as simple as that. I am very careful with anything that I do from a daily fantasy standpoint, or even when I talked about going to Vegas, of not, going outside of my means or anything like that. I think you have to be very careful with that stuff. How I would define all of this stuff in conjunction. We as a society, for better or worse, have decided that daily fantasy sports and sports betting is something that we're okay with. Okay. I honestly don't have a horse in the fight one way or the other. If we as a society decided we don't want that anymore, okay, cool. That I think I'm totally fine with that. I wouldn't have a major issue with that. But right now, we as a society have decided that that's okay. And with that being the case, it's going to be something that you see on TV every single time when the NFL comes on, or NBA, every single, ESPN, when you come on, they've got ESPN Bet in the lower right-hand corner. And it's going to be something that continues over and over. I don't see it changing anytime soon. And with that is going to come consequences. Now, it's funny because I saw people call out ESPN because as they're talking about this scandal, they have got the ESPN ticker in the lower right-hand corner. They're talking about, some of the dangers of sports gambling, and with the ESPN bet ticker, they're talking about, I don't see it that way. We have decided that, again, as a society, that daily fantasy sports and sports gambling is okay. We're cool with it. We're going to lie in bed with it, and we're going to, whatever comes of it, comes of it. If ESPN decides that they want to have a piece of that and have ESPN Bet, because again, we've decided as a society that's okay, that there's nothing wrong with that. And because some idiot people who are super greedy and are trying to scam people or fix games or whatever, and are bad actors of this entire thing, are doing some really shady and awful stuff, that doesn't now mean like all of a sudden, well, ESPN can't talk about it because they have ESPN Bet and they're part of the problem. No, we have decided again that it's an okay thing to do. They have a piece of it, and they're fine to call out when awful people do awful things, to say, hey, that's awful. They shouldn't be doing that. I know that the NFL and NBA and others will point to, hey, we think that this is actually a better thing, that this is now all much more regulated because it's easier to catch things like this. I think there's probably some truth to that. Whereas if this happened and it was all in underground, not monitored, betting rings in circles, maybe we don't find out about this stuff. And now we see like Calvin Ridley, when he's making, bets through whatever, like you're able to get suspended pretty quickly off of that stuff. They're monitoring that stuff very closely. So is it complicated? Yes. Do I more probably wish that we were at a time where this stuff didn't maybe permeate itself in the day to day, and now everything is, kind of related to that? Yes. Am I speaking out of both sides of my mouth as a sponsor of different companies here? 1,000,000%. I get that. I'm not trying to be, holier than thou or anything like that. I'm just saying that this is a reality of where we're at with sports right now. Again, we've kind of decided as a society we're okay with that. And if that's the way it's going to continue, there are going to be stories like this that continue. And it's going to happen in the NFL, NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball, college sports, and it will continue. And the hope is that we catch it, and that these people who continue to try to beat the system get caught, and we can kind of cleanse that as best we can from the entire system. But there will continue to be stuff like this. And it's unfortunate that that's the way that it is. But, there have been World Series stuff in 1919, that some of this stuff was happening before daily fantasy sports was even thought of. Does this turbocharge that? Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it makes it easier to get caught. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But it's definitely going to be something worth monitoring, and how these things are handled from here on out are going to be very important as well. And hopefully we just get the bad actors and the people that are doing really shitty things out of the entire process, and don't have to worry about this as much, and just allow people to make their individual decisions on life. If daily fantasy sports and sports gambling is not for them, they don't do it. And the people that enjoy it and want to do it, they can continue to do it, hopefully in a safe and entertaining way, and not in a way that's going to, hurt their livelihood or anything like that. That's where I stand on it. How I will just give one last note here. I am almost never going to be the decider of what sort of ad I think you guys can handle or not handle. That's it. You guys are adults. You can figure out if you want to use a product that I am promoting or not, whether that's a pizza, whether that's a boner pill, whether that's a daily fantasy sport, whether that's what's the stuff, the not actually like a THC, substance later, like not THC directly, but you get the thing that's adjacent to it or whatever, whether it's alcohol, whether it's anything. You guys are adults. It's all going to show up on your TV screen, the majority of it through the course of an NFL game. I'm not going to sell you anything that's, completely black market. I'm not going to sell body parts, but you guys have the ability to choose if you want to, believe in that product or not. I have a lot of awesome sponsors: Luiges Pizza, Habish Rotier, Alchemy Wealth Management, Sleeper that I love. Who am I forgetting? Schreiber Foods. Yeah, thought I was missing one, but that I love working with, and I'll continue to probably work with in some capacity. But you guys will be the ultimate deciders of, hey, we don't want to use that product. All right, that's your call. Totally understandable. All right. Sorry not to get on a diatribe. I know we want to talk Packers, but it is a very huge topic right now, certainly in all of sports. And certainly, like I said, it's going to happen in the NFL at some point in time. Wyatt practicing definitely helps. I'd give Wyatt like 15 snaps. Whatever his body can, if he's ready to play 30, 40 snaps, awesome. If not, then keep him on that snap count, but hopefully he can help the team this weekend. Say East Butler said we showed some interest. Easton said we showed some interest in DJ Turner. He'd be so fun to add, but I don't think the Bengals would part with him. I do think Alontae Taylor could be interesting, though. Alontae Taylor, you get into an interesting situation of he's a slot guy. Do you need another slot guy? You're not taking Javon Bullard off the field. And even then, if he's off the field, you kind of want Nate Hobbs in the slot. So I don't see that happening. I do agree that, that DJ Turner would be a lot of fun. I still think that they probably don't go corner unless there's an injury, but I would like to see them add one if it makes sense. But yeah, I don't see DJ Turner becoming a Packer. Makes you wonder why they haven't signed another practice squad defensive tackle, emergency stuff, but still, I think if they thought that there was one that was better than James Esther out there, they would just do so. I think they like Esther. He actually looked pretty good in practice. I thought last year coming into the league, I didn't think this guy had much chance. I thought by the end of training camp and preseason last year, he looked like a viable developmental option. Like you keep him on the practice squad for a year, which is what they did. And I thought in training camp this year, he looked like a guy that you could call up and have him play 15, 20 snaps and he'd be okay. He's a fun player. I think he'd handle it okay. I honestly don't think there would be a ton of difference between a Warren Brinson and a James Esther at this point in time. I really don't. Brinson's a little bit better. I think Esther could hold his own for those, 10, 15, 20 snaps. Christian has to come off the PUP list or IR for the rest of the year, right? That is incorrect, Aaron. Tomorrow, first of all, would be still a time that he would be able to be called up. And then I think I have to double check this, but I think it's actually Monday that they have. I don't think they actually have to activate him, but the ultimate answer here, Aaron, is whatever the day is, we don't need to worry about it. The Packers are going to call him up by the time that they need to. He's not going on IR to end the year. So they're not going to screw that up. And Christian Watson will be on this team sooner rather than later. My guess is probably tomorrow. I don't think that deadline's today. In fact, again, I think it's actually Monday, but either way, whatever that date is, he's probably getting activated tomorrow and he's probably going to play this week would be my guess. Haven't been in a live since, but recently moved to Phoenix for work and was at the game. Bought a neutral friend and made him root for the Packers. Cardinal silent count equals achieved awesome experience. Would definitely recommend road games to anyone that can. It's fun. You have to be careful sometimes which road games you're going to. I don't know that I'd want to go to Philly if I'm being honest, but in situations like that, yes, it can be a ton of fun. Spam Tucker Kraft, not a bad thing to do. Yeah, I think it is Monday, but I have to double check it. But again, that doesn't matter all that much. He'll be back when they need him. You presume Lloyd hurt himself on IR. Hopefully that is not the case. Do you still enjoy playing any sports at this stage of your life, or is playing with your kids kind of the extent of your play? Yeah, playing with my kids. If I could, or if I had the time, I think doing a flag football or a men's soccer league would be a ton of fun. My body would explode. So this is probably, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago now, maybe 12, probably 10 years ago. There was a indoor soccer men's tournament and I had some friends that were doing it and they had 9 guys and they needed one more. And just to kind of almost as a just in case, or we would really just one more guy, just to have a little bit more of a rotation. I'm yeah, sure. I'm I haven't played in 15 years or whatever, but yeah, I can still do it. I know the game or whatever, I can play. I was sore. I mean, I could only go on 2-minute runs. It would be 2 minutes and I had to get the heck out of the game. I was sore for 2 weeks straight after I had used parts of my body that I hadn't used in 15 years. But the very funny part of this, I've never had a moment like this in my life. My body was just dead by the end. I was in the third game of the tournament and my body had nothing left to give. It's just you idiot. What are you doing? Please stop. Please stop. I get the ball and I'm one-on-one with the goalkeeper and I'm breaking away down the right-hand side and my brain tells my body, cut inside and shoot. And my body just said no. It just kept running. It would not allow me to cut. It would not allow me to do anything. It literally just stopped obeying my commands. I literally just had to keep running. And I don't even know what happened. I've never had that happen where I'm just hey, cut inside and shoot. My body's just no, we're not going to do that. We're just going to keep running because we can't do anything else. So yeah, never again, at least in any real significant way, but playing with the kids is still a ton of fun. And that's probably the extent of my, my playing career from here on out. Andy, do you think they are doing a good job of matching up the pass rush with the coverage, given how much pressure we can create, but are willing to give up all the quick game solutions? It's a really complex answer. I think they need to do a better job. That probably goes without saying. We have seen them. The Jamar Chase touchdown is a great example of come up on those receivers a little bit more and try to get to the quarterback and even bring some pressure. I think one of the big issues over the last few weeks, especially against Dallas and Cincinnati, was George Pickens and Jamar Chase, and to a lesser extent, T. Higgins, and even a little bit with Marvin Harrison, is I think Jeff Hafley felt a little bit caught in no man's land. If we come up and press these receivers and or bring pressure, these quarterbacks are smart enough to just say, you can't cover Chase or Pickens one-on-one with the corners that you have, or even T. Higgins, or even Marvin Harrison Jr. We're just going to we'll throw the 50-50 ball and we're going to get it. And they did. I mean, almost every one of those 50-50s, there was either a penalty on our corners or they completed the pass. So yeah, if you want to come up and play more press and stop some of that short passing game, and there's other things you can do. Obviously, again, we're not going to go in the entire nuance of all the options here, but the more logical one is come up and play and press those receivers a little bit more. You can do that, but then you're going to have usually maybe a single high safety, or maybe you have two safeties, but then again, you don't have the extra rusher then. And if they're using extra protectors, you may end up having to cover for a little bit too long. This is, again, just the beautiful cat and mouse game. They need to do a better job of it overall. You have to allow time, even just the 3 seconds it takes for Micah Parsons to get home. But if you're going to come up and play those receivers and you've got a Jamar Chase or you've got a George Pickens and they're throwing those back shoulders or those 50-50 balls and they're catching them every time, you're going to start feeling like, hey, maybe that's a bad idea. Maybe we don't want to do that. And I think that's part of what happened over these past few weeks. A lot to you as well, Ray. Thanks for being here. Pittsburgh's tight ends scare me this week. Hope we come up with a good game plan. I do think Pittsburgh's tight ends are going to be active, and I know what Pat Freiermuth just did. I will say, collectively, these tight ends in general don't scare me all that much. I think they'll have a decent day, but I'm not super worried. I was far more concerned about Trey McBride than over anything that the Steelers have at tight end, for example. So I think they'll have their success. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think there's going to be I don't think Freiermuth's going for 100 in this game. I think they can be okay, but they do need to do a better job against tight ends than what they've done so far. Wyatt and Christian coming back this week feels huge. Christian likely on a pitch count, but he still makes an impact because they have to respect him. Feels like this game is truly a toss-up. Saver, you said it perfectly. I've got nothing to add. I think both of those returns from injury are huge, and I do believe this is a coin flip of a game. Are you happy with our corners? I am not happy with the way they are playing right now. No. I think I said this on maybe the show the other day. My corner grades through the first 3 weeks of the season. Note that was primarily Carrington Ballantyne and not Nate Hobbs through a majority of that, but plus 1.85 through the first 3 weeks of the season. The last 3 weeks of the season, negative 4.35, 6-point swing in the wrong direction. So no, I'm not happy with the way that they're playing. I think if they can get back to playing the way that they were in those first 3 weeks, when again, you're not going against Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, some pretty good receivers in Arizona. And then of course, Dallas's wide receivers, which have been amazing, including George Pickens. Maybe it's a little bit better, but you got DK Metcalf this week. And guess what? You're going to face good receivers almost every week in the NFL. You've got DJ Moore. You've got Justin Jefferson. You've got AJ Brown and Devontae Smith still this year. You've got Cortland Sutton. You've got, we can go on and on. You're going to face a lot of really good receivers the rest of this year. So you got to be prepared for that stuff. Just picked up a Pep's Draft House pizza from Walmart here in Fargo, North Dakota. Billy, Rookie, and Marcus rave about this pizza. Hopefully it's good. I never had it. Go Pack Go. So I think I want to double check to make sure I am. Yes. So Luigi's is now part of the Peps family, and Draft House is part of the Peps family as well. So we can talk about that one a little bit because it is part of the Peps overall family. But I will say, no disrespect to the Draft House pizzas, I'm still very preferential to Luigi's. And I would say that even if I was not partnering with Luigi's, again, they're all part of the same family. But I do love me some Luigi's pizza. I've watched every game since 2023, and it really seems like around week 11, Matt's route concepts and play calling have been really struggling from mid-23 to mid-24, minus some hiccups. It's not that they lose, it's how they lose, and they lose the same way every single time. I think that's a little bit of an oversimplification, Menace. I don't think that there has been a common DNA thread to their losses as of late. Cleveland was because they couldn't block up front. Nothing to do with route concepts, the receivers winning down the field or anything like that. It's that they couldn't block up front. I mean, Philly was a turnover fest. I mean, including a opening kickoff where Keyshawn Nixon maybe, recovers the fumble, probably recovers the fumble, but you have that opening kickoff fumble. There's 3 interceptions in that game from Jordan. That's the way that they lost that game. The Bears game before that was just a weirdo, bizarro game where Jordan ended up going out of Christian Watson tore his ACL. They didn't really have anything to play for, yada, yada, yada. I don't really put that much on them. I think they're like every game is its own unique thing. And I think just saying that it's one thing and that's the way they lose every single time is an oversimplification to say the least. I also think that these losses, a lot of them as of late, of course, are, not having Christian Watson out there. Jaden Reed not being out there hurts as well. So I think that's hurt some of the things that Matt is and is not able to do with some of his routes and play calling also. So I think there's a lot more that goes into it. I don't think it's that simple. Do I think there's things that Matt can do better? Absolutely. But I wouldn't say that's the 1A reason that they're losing games. And it certainly has not shown itself this year. I mean, they're tied this year. They put up 40 points. So their only loss that we have experienced in 2025 is because they couldn't block up front. They had a lot of backups in on that offensive line. They were atrocious. The Browns defensive line completely destroyed Green Bay's offensive line. And even then, it comes down to a block kick at the end. So yeah, I would mostly disagree with that, even if there is a modicum of truth in there. Packers at least making some calls in the corner market was encouraging. Getting DJ Turner seems like a stretch, but I at least like checking the prices to see those types of players. I think that stuff happens all around the league, and I think Goody's been doing it forever, so I won't get your hopes up. Obviously, there's a little bit more reporting on it now, but I think that stuff has probably happened for forever, and we just didn't even know about it, to be honest. As dicey as this team is, 12 wins would be a blessing. I don't know how I feel about, I think, again, they're better than they've played so far. I think they have played a little bit down to their competition, but yeah, just know that there's, like I talked about earlier, there's going to be some losses along the way. Just want to say your daily Pack-A-Day regulars, Justice Mike, Paul, and Carmen have been great. Dennis, I really appreciate that. I am blessed to get to work with some really awesome people that certainly in season make my job a whole heck of a lot easier. And I learn a bunch of stuff from those guys as well. So it's been a ton of fun. I'm really lucky to get to talk with all the people that we get to talk to here. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. And yeah, it's just, it's fun for me. I'll just put it that way, to get to pick the brains of some really smart people in the Packer sphere. So glad you guys are enjoying it as well. Drew, hello to you as well. How they lose or win barring injuries only matters to bettors. I just care about wins and losses. Fiber, appreciate that a lot. I think that's a good way to look at it. It's interesting because I think I fall in another land that most people aren't, and some people are maybe in. I care about the wins and the losses. I don't care about the point differential. I do care about how they play. I do care about things that could cost them in the playoffs. And I think some people are in that same range as well. But to me, I want to see them win, obviously. I think sometimes even like some of the tough losses or even tough wins get way overblown for how detrimental that is to a team. I think sometimes you just have to trust the process a little bit. But I do very much keep an eye on things that I think can be catastrophic to them come their playoff run. And right now, their corner play and their run blocking are two things to me that are potentially catastrophic come playoff time. So I need to see that continue to improve. That's where I'm at with it right now. So I'm always looking at that eye towards the future. But I do appreciate the wins, and I do understand just how, difficult it is to kind of get those wins in the NFL right now. All right. On vacation with my wife, but this live comes first. Pack-A-Day is every day, vacationing or not. Elson, you're the absolute best. Appreciate you, my friend. Enjoy your vacation. And this just sweetens the vacation. Pop a drink and put on some Pack-A-Day. That gets the weekend started, my friend. That should be that should be the plan for every vacation. Pop on Pack-A-Day and get the vacation started off right. Appreciate you though. Bro, you're a lifesaver. Dishwasher broke, so I have about an hour of dishes to do, so this helps. Drew, sorry to hear your dishwasher broke, but glad I can give you a distraction while you're doing it. Last year, 14 wins was not a win of the North. Yeah, I know last year. I don't see that being the same this year. I think it's going to be a lot tighter this year. I know how that worked, but I do think it's going to be a lot tighter this year. Move the Sticks is also a good nationwide. I love Daniel Jeremiah. I do think there's a lot of times where I tune in to Move the Sticks and DJ is not there. If I'm being honest, if I'm tuning in to Move the Sticks, I'm tuning in for DJ. And I sometimes do get a little bit frustrated if I tune in and DJ is not on. So I do love Daniel Jeremiah, though. I think he's one of the best. Do the Packers pay Wooden and Wyatt now or wait and let the price tag go up in the offseason? I would assume like Wooden's still under contract fully next year, so I don't think they start having those conversations till probably this coming off season. Tucker Kraft would be the one that goes to the top of the list for those conversations, but I do think they will talk to Wooden in the offseason as well. Wyatt, they can like, I'm assuming some of those Wyatt conversations. Wyatt's under contract next year, but under the 5th-year option. I think that's a little bit different. Wyatt and I would think Quay still too are probably two that they're probably talking to the agents for. At least you have a dishwasher to be broken for sure. Golden was a hip injury on the injury report. We don't know anything more than that. Currently combining corn in southern Wisconsin. Combining. Okay. Hopefully I'll be able to see the whole game this week. Do we have any idea on Watson or Wyatt this week? Seems like Watson and Wyatt are both going to be good to go. We'll know tomorrow with Watson if he gets activated or not. If not, then he's not going to go. But if he's activated tomorrow, then he'll play. And it does seem like Wyatt is trending towards playing as well. Chris, appreciate the kind words, my friend. Thanks for being here. Is it specific division? Because I thought it was the AFC top to bottom because we finished the same position as Denver last year. It is a specific division. So AFC North is the division we play this year. Ravens, Bengals, Browns, and Steelers. And then Bengals are the one in the same spot as us. Yeah. And yes, the 9th game does rotate between the AFC and the NFC hosting the game every other year. Correct. What do you think will be some of the biggest deciding factors for this game? I'm most intrigued to see how Halfley plans on disguising coverages. To me, I did this for Bleacher Report the other day. My 3 things that I'm going to, and I'll obviously do a full breakdown for Sunday's episode as well. But the 3 things that I did for Bleacher Report this week, which team runs the football better? I think both of these teams want to be run first teams, run, play action. And for Green Bay, just be balanced on offense. Which team can really get their run game going better? Green Bay's run defense has been great. The Pittsburgh run offense has been okay. For Green Bay, their run offense has been okay. Pittsburgh's run defense has not been great. Whichever run offense gets going better, I think is at a huge advantage in this game. I'm also watching Jordan Love, meaning, Jordan has the propensity to have 1 ball per game that is a turnover worthy play. And if you give them that turnover-worthy play, Pittsburgh's more often than not going to take advantage of it. And I think that turnover could be huge. So if Jordan can take care of the ball, I think that is number 2. And then number 3 was how Green Bay stops that quick passing attack of the Steelers. I think that, to me, is another key aspect. And to your point, just kind of disguising those coverages. I'm almost less about disguising coverages in this one. Aaron's going to read it almost no matter what. Maybe you get him a time or two, but for the most part, Aaron's going to know what's coming. Like you almost have to play a cat and mouse game on the cat and mouse game, or even like think you're going to do the next rotation and then don't do it. It's really tough to fool Aaron, but if they can figure out a way, awesome. But to me, you just got to figure out a way. The way I'm mostly looking at this is I'm going to stop the run. I'm going to come up on the wide receivers. I'm playing a safety over the top of DK Metcalf. I'm not overcomplicating this thing. I'm not going to let DK Metcalf beat me. I'm not going to allow the short passing game with Aaron just to kind of eat me alive all game. And I'm not going to let this run game beat me. If Kelvin Austin and Ben Skoranek and those receivers and, ultimately, was it Roman Wilson? If those receivers beat me, deep down the field consistently from Aaron and they have time to get it off from Micah, awesome. So be it. Tip your cap. Good job. You guys did it. But I'm not letting DK, the quick passing game, or the run game beat me. That's what I'm going to try to take away if I'm Jeff Halfley. Excuse me. I think I understand the NFL schedule way more now. There you go. You're welcome. Holy cow, you guys came with questions today. I thought I was like winding down towards the end, and I'm not even close. What is your take on the rumors of the Packers wanting to get A-Chain from Miami? Do you think the Packers should target a corner more than a running back? Yeah, I'm sure. Again, a lot of these guys are just phone calls, seeing what it would take, what would be the price and things. I don't think A-Chain's going anywhere, and I certainly don't think Green Bay is going to go out of their way to acquire him. So I'd be pretty surprised if that happens. The likely scenario, guys, is that there's no trades. That's the most likely scenario. And if there is a trade, it's probably defensive line, maybe corner would be my guess. But the more likely scenario is that there's no trades. Just know that a lot of these phone calls get made, just checking on prices and just kind of putting together your emergency options too if you have a catastrophic injury over the next couple of weeks before the trade deadline. We need a true corner one, somebody with lockdown potential. Has anybody checked on Preston Smith recently? Well done, Kyler. Appreciate you. We always want Goody making deals at the deadline, but man, I don't know about that one if it happens. Yeah, I don't see A-Chain happening. Yeah, again, these are phone calls that get made to check on prices and things like that. I would be pretty stunned if that ended up being the trade. Don't get me wrong, Achane and Jacobs duo would be insane, but I'd rather have us go get a corner to help our weaker secondary than a running back who helps our already good run game. Well said, Josiah. I don't know if they have a really good run game, but they do have good running backs. I'm going to the game on Sunday night, which will be my first game ever, John. That's awesome. Those tickets I know are insane to get, so enjoy the heck out of it. That should be a ton of fun. Dev, good to see you as well. Glad the chat is open today. Go Pack, go. Retirement had that same effect on me. Yeah, I can only imagine. Listen, if I wanted to, I've talked to people about this before. I could easily, if I wanted to, go to 5 days a week. I could primarily do the audio podcasts for the ones that I get from the team and just do a few podcasts a week and probably still be viable to some extent and just have a lot more time. But man, I also love what I'm doing. It's a ton of fun. I'd still probably need to figure out a little bit better balance, if I'm being honest. At some point, I will probably go, and I would say in the next 5 years, I will probably go to 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, or and then have the weekend, probably in the off season, have the weekend ones covered by other people. There'd still be a show every day, but it would be, somebody like a Camille or a Ross or a Mike Wall or something like that on a Saturday or in a Sunday, and just go to 5 days. And then, in season, probably pick it up to 7 or things like that. Something like that over time will come as I get older and just, probably wear down at some point here. But for right now, I enjoy it and don't see anything changing anytime in the near future. What did you do for work before you went full pack-a-day? My most recent job was I was the director of a staffing agency recruiting firm here in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Had a full team of people that reported up to me in Green Bay. Awesome group of people. We were a nationwide staffing agency. It was a ton of fun. I really enjoyed the job. It was actually tough to leave. It was well-paying, and it was, like I said, I enjoyed doing it. It was the right time though to do it for sure. And this was definitely the right move. So yeah, it's good timing to do it. Wall episodes are my favorite, very informative. Chris, glad you enjoy those. And I think that's one of my favorite things is I see no matter who the host or the guest is, whether it's Carmen or Paul Brettel or Mike Wall, Justice Mosqueda, Perry and Grant, somebody's always like, that's my favorite episode. And same thing with the audio episode with all of our awesome, hosts throughout the course of the week too. People will come up to me and be like, oh, I love the Dusty Steve and Sarah episodes. Or, yesterday when Jason and Mark recorded a full episode for the audio, and Jason's computer did a reboot and the episode was completely gone. So they're gonna, I think, redo one for this week still, but hoping to get that up, either today or tomorrow if they have the time to do it. But a lot of people reaching out. Well, where's Mark and Jason? It's my favorite episode every single week. I think that's one of my favorite things. Is just everyone has their own cup of tea. It's why I like to have variety on the show. But yeah, Mike's episodes are awesome, and Chris, I'm glad you're liking them. Why do you think Sean Ryan is so polarizing? Nagler thinks he's not great, and Mike Wall loves him. I like Sean Ryan. I really do. I think this just kind of comes down to the eye of the beholder. I think Sean Ryan's a much better run blocker than Jordan Morgan. I think Jordan Morgan's a better pass protector than Sean Ryan. Which one do you want? I would love to morph them into one human being and just have them be good at both. That's not the case right now. So I think, Morgan has more upside. Ryan's going to be gone in 8 months probably, or not even, in March, whenever that is, in free agency. So you develop the young guy and let him go and hope that he continues to get better. And the upside for Morgan is way higher. So I probably like Ryan a little bit more than Morgan at the moment, but it's close. There's not like this clear and obvious winner. And Ryan had a lot of opportunity just to earn that spot long term. I thought Ryan played really well a season ago for the most part, though. But yeah, I understand the decision. I think it's a little bit more gray area than one of them just being automatically better than the other. And like I said, I think Morgan's a little bit better in pass pro. I think Ryan's a little bit better in run blocking. So sometimes pick your poison. That's the other one, Paul Farrington too. I meant to mention that those guys are a ton of fun. I almost felt bad watching their post-game show yesterday. They were very dejected last night. So like I said, I wanted to send them a Luiges Pizza to make them feel better. If I could have, I would have. Yeah, those guys are awesome. They're really fun to talk to. And to me, like, I love the NFL, and I love one of my best friends is a Bears fan. I love being able to talk Bears with him, getting to talk to just two really fun, awesome, knowledgeable people, even though that they're Vikings fans, and just talk NFC North football is a ton of fun for me every single week. So those guys are awesome. I appreciate them. Felt their pain last night for sure. I mean, the Viking season is over. If we're being real, like, there's no coming back. They're going to finish fourth in the division. We talked about that on Paul's show this week, but yeah, I'll say it one more time. I know that like general NFC North talk or talking Vikings for a good chunk of the episode isn't going to be everybody's cup of tea. If you're not checking out those episodes, or maybe you just saw the premise of it or weren't aware of it, just check it out. It's a really, really fun show. It's really conversational. It's really easygoing. And I think if you haven't given it a chance yet, and if you just look at the comments of that show every single week, it's like, love this collaboration. Love that you have them on. Thank you. Thank you. Love this, love this, love this. Check it out. I think you'll really enjoy the show if you haven't checked it out so far. Do you think because the targets are spread around so much that it can hurt the offense and cause it to be too inconsistent? I don't think that that's the issue. I think there maybe is a small piece of that from time to time. But to me, like, go back to the Dallas playoff game when their offense just looked unbelievable, right? Or the Dallas 40-point game this year. Like, when the offense is clicking, there's no, oh, they didn't get this person the ball enough. Everyone's eating in that scenario. So to me, it's more of like the dumb penalties where Malik Heath is lined up off sides, or you're not executing your route the right way, or you're, having a holding penalty that backs it up, or you're not taking the short throw when it's there, or you're missing Romeo Doubs, deep down the field when he's open for a touchdown. To me, that's the stuff that has been a bigger detriment than the rotations at receiver or anything like that. So if they just get that stuff cleaned up, they've got the talent. Everyone can eat. They just have to be a little bit more efficient and a little bit more, have a little bit greater attention to detail in what they're doing, playing and play out. I would love one of those pizzas right now. TJR, you and me both. Any kind of off topic, but any thoughts on the crazy NBA gambling scandal we talked about that, obviously. Do you think Goot makes any move at the deadline? I think it's 50-50 right now. I really do. I think I'll say like 60-40 that there's probably no move, because I think still the most likely outcome is that there is no move. But I do think that there is a chance. And I think Goody understands that they're trying to win a Super Bowl right now. If the right deal comes along, I think he would certainly be at least open to exploring the possibility. Andy, I know it's still in the middle of the regular season, but what position do you think the Packers could and should most likely draft round 1, 2026? They ain't got a round 1, 2026, my friend. They don't got a round 1, 2027 either. So you're going to have to get used to that. But I think offensive line is what they're going to probably attack pretty aggressively this coming year. You've got Elton Jenkins as a $20 million team option. You've got Sean Ryan as a free agent, Rasheed Walker as a free agent, Darian Kennard as a restricted free agent. I mean, you could be looking at right now a starting 5 in 2026 of Jordan Morgan, Aaron Banks, Jacob Monk, Anthony Belton, and Zach Tom. Maybe not the worst line in the world, but you have no depth behind it. It's basically like John Williams, which we have no idea what he is at this point. Travis Glover, we have no idea what he is at this point. So you're going to have some real interesting decisions on the offensive line. And I'd expect, even though they're missing a first-round pick, I would expect a few offensive linemen selected next year in the draft. Can I go over the injured players really quick? Yeah. Let me just pull up the injury report really quick, just to make sure I'm not missing anything. All right. So Packers are Dontavian Wicks and Lucas Van Ness. Questionable are Warren Brinson, Matthew Golden, Brandon McManus, Christian Watson, and Devontae Wyatt. Those are the players that are injured this week. And then, of course, you have your players that are on some sort of injury list already, which is Colin Oliver and John Williams on the physically unable to perform list. I think the longer this goes on, the more likely it is that Oliver and Williams don't ever. I think if anything, maybe they open the practice window for one of those guys in the last 3 weeks of the season, just to get them out there, knowing that they're never going to activate them anyway, and maybe just allow them to be out there and semi-participating. But I think they don't play a snap this year. Meanwhile, Marshawn Lloyd, Brenton Cox, Jaden Reed, and Travis Glover are the other injuries. Travis Glover cannot come back from injury. He is out for the year. Jaden Reed will be back probably closer in like December time range. And then Cox and Lloyd are TBD. We don't know what their timeline is to come back at this point. Grew up in the UK in a strong soccer tradition and was surprised to fall so passionately in love with the NFL and the Packers. Every game has at least one oh wow moment. What's not to love? Well said, Jackie. It is a beautiful, beautiful sport. We love it. And I'm very lucky personally to have grown up, 10 minutes from Lambeau Field and to be able to have the Packers as a passion. Wouldn't have wanted it any other way, although I do love your version of football or soccer as well. It's something I've been dedicated to a huge chunk of my life as well. For those of you who don't know, coached soccer for a very long period of time, including high school soccer. Probably still my favorite job to this day was coaching soccer. Absolutely love it. So I love that sport to death, but yeah, NFL is king here for sure. Basketball would be more susceptible because of fewer players. I'm not sure that checks out, Dennis. I think the more players, the more moving parts, the more opportunity there is sometimes for some nefarious stuff. But maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. But yeah, I don't know if I necessarily believe that or not. I know no one wants to trade Dobbs, but on any given offense of play, at least two of our top receivers are on the sidelines. Then we trot average at best corners out. Would a corner not improve the team? I'll say this again for probably the billionth time. If you want to go get a corner, you have all the assets you need to get a corner. You have 6 picks in 2026. You've got 6+ picks plus all the comp picks you're going to get in 2027. You've got all 7 of your picks in 2028. You can trade up to 3 years ahead in draft capital. I don't need to give any good players up on this team to try to supplement another position. If you want to upgrade corner, you can do it via trading draft assets if you need to. You don't need, it's not like whatever corner they're going to go after is somebody that they're going to give 2 first-round picks. You're probably talking about something that's like a 3rd, 4th, 5th round pick for a corner. I don't need to give up Romeo Dobbs for that player. Just give up the 3rd, 4th, 5th round pick. It's as simple as that. So, if you want to make the argument this team needs a corner, go get a corner. I'm not against that at all. Just there's no need to have to give up actual player capital in order to get said corner. There's a high percentage of people who have placed bets, meaning just in general. If so, that's probably true. If you're talking NFL or sports, I don't know the numbers there. Hopefully it's not much because it's against the rules in every single sport. Who's out for the game? LVN and Dontavian Wicks are out for the game. Mark already had it. I hate how everything is sponsored by gambling sites now. I get it, understand it. Not going to change unless there's a law change. It's not going anywhere. So just a piece of it. I don't know. I honestly, I don't really care who sponsors anything. I got sick of all the beer commercials for a long time. I was ready to be done with that. Commercials are commercials. I'm just trying to tune them out for the most part in the game, no matter what. So I don't really care what's sponsoring it, if I'm being honest. I bought Luige's today when I was in Green Bay, so I can know if it's actually Missy. I'm telling you, it's actually good. I'm telling you, it's amazing. You're going to enjoy it though. So you can check back with us next week and verify how amazing that they are. They're the absolute best, and I enjoy the heck out of it. And I'm kind of jealous of you right now, Missy. Still love you though, Andy. Go Pack Go. Appreciate you, Chris. My God. All right, let's restart that. Appreciate you, Chris. Easy for me to say. Start talking about the Packers again. Didn't come here for a stern. I wasn't stern talking to anybody, Walker. So I don't know what you're talking about. Is an injury report out yet? Yes, it's out there. Definitely went over it. All right. Where do we leave off? Yep, we went over who's out. Yeah, don't need to trade anyone for a corner. Can find ways to get a corner. I did not play high school football. No, my funny middle school story is I was the starting corner in 6th grade for middle school. I thought I was pretty good. Had a helmet that dug like 6 feet into my head. Had shoulder pads that like didn't work. It was like I don't know. It was just a nightmare experience. I hated it. Let's just say I have the body of a podcaster and not of a football player anyway. So I made the right choice. We did like classic like nutcracker drills and let's just say I was not the biggest one out on the field. Those did not end well for me. Yeah. So it was the right choice. It was definitely the right choice. Podcasting was the right direction to go in and not continuing to play tackle football. Loved Halfley's presser. He is so relaxed and good with the reporters, much better than some others. He's fantastic for sure. Halfley runs his pressers like a man who knows every media appearance is a head coach interview. That's probably true. I've been watching since 2023. I'm not sure what that's in regards to. Maybe just watching the podcast, but either way, if that's the case, I appreciate it. Imagine talking about how the Pack loses the same way all the time, but have only 1 loss this year so far. New year, new team. Welcome to 2025. I think the bad win stuff is kind of stupid, if I'm being honest. I watched every game back to 2023, learned to read. You guys. Let's see. Possibility of trading up. If the situation is right, Goody will look at it, but you're probably looking at the next 2 years, much more likely trading down, even in the second round. It's going to be really tough because if you are picking towards the end of the round, right? Whether it's pick 32, hopefully, or pick 30, you don't really want to move from, pick 30 in round 2 into round 3 and not have any first or second round picks. So my guess is they'll use their second round pick, maybe even move up a little bit in the second round if they target somebody, or at worst kind of stay where they are. And then maybe keep their third round pick as well. And then probably use like that fourth round pick to maybe buy some fifth, sixth, and sevenths just to have more bites at the apple in some of those later rounds. Would kind of be my guess is how Goody might attack that. Be nice to Paul and Ziggy on the next show. I feel bad for them. Nice guys. Yeah, I felt bad for them on the after show this week. Go back through a lot of the losses during the Matt LaFleur tenure, and there's a common theme throughout nearly every single one of them. Can't get a stop, can't get a score, and a penalty or special teams gap. Menace, I hate to tell you this. I'm not sure if you watch football on the regular. Not getting a score or not getting a stop is what ultimately loses you a game in every single game, unless you're losing by 30, and that's not where you want to be. So the fact that they're close in losses is telling you that they're competitive every single week. They're very rarely, if ever, getting blown out of games. And when you lose games, it's going to come down to a play or two. That's just the NFL. I think that's what just you guys have to watch other NFL too to have a feel for this stuff. Like this is the very common thing. If you go around and Greg Rosenthal did a great thing on it, like everyone's miserable. Every fan base is miserable. There's a couple that aren't. Detroit's pretty fine right now. I think Indianapolis is probably pretty pleased right now. And Indianapolis has a loss. They have one tie less than Green Bay. And Detroit lost to Green Bay and has a half a loss more than what Green Bay does. Like, so just this is what happens in the NFL, guys. Teams lose. They're going to end up with like 4 or 5 losses this season. Like, it's okay. It happens. It's going to happen. How do they do in the playoffs is what's going to ultimately define this team. Yes. Thank you, M2. I appreciate you. And New York Cheese said on the same page. M2 again. Why do you think there's such a debate on Sean Ryan, Nagler? Yeah, we talked about that. My next job, Romania. This seems like an ad. This seems fake. This seems like a way for me to get to mention my next job, Romania. But if it is, well done, my next job, Romania. I guess if people want a job in Romania, you can go there. I don't know, but thank you for the comment, I guess. There isn't the common denominator. Is there losses? Some are ugly, some are not. Get better at watching football. All right. We don't have to be mean. We can still be nice in the sandbox. I think the Dodgers beat the Blue Jays. I just think they're a buzzsaw with $1 billion payroll, which is what it is. But yeah, it's I think the Jays get 1, maybe 2 games in this one, but I think the Jays put a lot into that series to get past Seattle. And I think the Dodgers, I'll say Dodgers in 5. Dodgers in 5. We have 2 awesome kickers. Curious if one can be used for trade bait or just rack up draft capital. I don't think so. I think the most likely scenario is that Haversick gets released and picked up off of waivers by a team, probably the Giants. But we'll see what happens. If they can get a 7th for him next week, awesome. We'll see if they can swing something like that. I think right now it's just getting McManus healthy first before you make any decisions. But I think the most likely scenario is that Haversick also ultimately gets released. Aaron perfectly recalling that 09 Steelers-Packers game was crazy. Yeah, he's got a Rolodex of a memory for sure. If the Dolphins are selling, I want my draft crushed. Yeah, I mean, nobody's going to trade away their first-round pick from the most recent season. Would not be thinking that would happen. But I did like Kenneth Grant as well. Wilson looked kind of slow on Sunday. We need Lloyd back. I disagree with that. I don't think he looked slow. I just think it was tough sledding in the run game. I don't think he got the opportunity to burst too much in that game. For all those going, have fun in Pittsburgh. I was there and sat next to Randall Cobb's dad. Had second row tickets to see us lose on a field goal the Sunday after Thanksgiving in 2017. I'm sorry about that, Andrew. That was a tough game. It was a fun game, though. Really fun game. But yeah, tough loss at the end. Let's see here. Don't get how people blame Goody when clearly Hobbs fell off since his surgery. Yeah, let's just see. Let's see where it ends up. Again, we don't need to make an ultimate determination on if this was a good or bad free agent signing through 6 weeks. We got a lot of time left. Hopefully Hobbs and even Banks continue to play better. And, it kind of indicates what Goody saw in his scouting report of those two. But right now the ROI isn't great, but a lot of time left and hopefully a little bit removed from their injuries. They start playing better football. Really hope we bring Ryan back, considering he's only 25, hasn't even entered his prime yet, and I think there's only upside from here. I would love this as a long-term guard duo. Yeah, I wouldn't hold your breath right now if they're not playing him a single snap in the game. I think that probably tells you what they feel about him at the moment. So my expectation is Ryan probably leaves in the offseason. Who's your Mount Rushmore of Packer players outside of quarterback? Yeah, I go through this every once in a while. I still don't know that I have a great answer, but I know for sure Charles Woodson, Nick Collins, and Tremont Williams are all on the list. And then I would probably put Amon Green as that fourth one, would be my guess. So yeah, Amon Green, Charles Woodson, Nick Collins, and Tremont Williams. That's my four. And it's not, I wouldn't say that that's the best four Packers that I've watched in my lifetime, but those are my favorite four. Those are the four I absolutely loved watching every single week. Perry and Maggie say should take the ball to start the game if they can. I say take the ball after halftime because Rod is known for having great drives. Rodgers is known for having great drives coming out of the locker room. I always am team take the ball first. Always want the ball first. So I'm with Perry and Maggie on this one. But yeah, every single time I always want the ball to start the game. All right. Let's see here. Will we see a Watson deep ball in the opening play? I don't think so. I don't think that'll be the case, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw one during the game. Has our O-line play regressed? Yes. Seems like they've been struggling to run the ball and have some issues in pass pro. Yeah, the offensive line has not been great. It's, to me, the weakest point of this team right now. I think they need to get better, and that's 1A on my list of things that I think need to improve if this team wants to be a Super Bowl team. I think it will, by the way, also. I watched 3 Sunday games plus Monday Night Football and Thursday Night Football. We get to watch more good football out of Green Bay than in the NFL generally. There are no points for style, only for winning. Take the wins and smile, people. I appreciate that, Jackie. People always talk about Jordan's second half of 2023. How do you think he is playing in comparison to that period of time? I think, unfortunately, he's always going to be maybe judged next to that 2023 run, which was a pretty special run at the end of that season. I think he's playing phenomenal football, whether it's comparable to that or not. I love the way that he's playing. I think you're going to see some really good games. I think he's been super clutch. I think you'll probably see a bad game here or there, just like is capable of like every NFL quarterback. Josh Allen's had some of those. Patrick Mahomes has had some of those, right? So I think he'll have some of those, but right now I'm thrilled with the way that he's playing overall. And he's doing a tremendous job. Clearly a top 10 quarterback, probably in that top 8 category. And to me, again, very, very pleased with where he's at. Let's see. Goody currently on the phone with Jerry telling him how good Haversick is off the edge and defending the run. Have a good weekend, everyone. Thanks for being here, Will. What were your thoughts? Sorrell was my lowest graded defender of the last game. I thought he was put in a tough spot overall. The big offside penalty on that 3rd and 24 was a big factor in that as well. Just think he was a little bit out of position too. Not all his fault, but I thought he struggled. He was PFF's lowest graded player in that game also. So we had that one as the same. I thought it was a tougher game for him. All right, friends. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you guys a ton. Went a little bit longer, but I think I got to everyone's question. Was really, really fun. Appreciate you guys a lot. I will see you guys pre and post game for Sunday. Tomorrow, Nick Farabaugh from the Pittsburgh Steelers beat is joining me to preview Packers Steelers. So we got that tomorrow morning. Mike Wall episode tomorrow afternoon. Again, pre-game show from me on Sunday, then live pre and post game shows. And then I'll be back on Monday morning breaking down Pittsburgh and Green Bay, hopefully a victory Monday. See you guys then. Until next time. And as always, go Pack, go.